Hi, you are watching SightsIn Plus, and this is Romesh. Please do subscribe the channel for the HR news, for HR updates, and conversation with the top CHROs, thought leaders, and business heads. Today, we are going to discuss career transitions. We will try to dive deep at what is the bigger purpose, what are the challenges, and how we can prepare ourselves for the career transitions. Joining us, a renowned HR leader, Ms. Rajita Singh. She is the Chief People Officer with the Kyndryl India. So, Rajita, if we look at the trend for the career transitions right now, so that is on rise, especially with the millennials, especially with the Gen Zs. So there is a rise in career transitions right now, and there is also purpose of job. If we see, so that is also evolved. Now, the end goal is not job is not the end goal right now. This is also not only for the paychecks. So this is more. This is a bigger purpose, learning and skill development, and maybe after that move to the bigger career version. How do you see the career transition purposes evolved? How do you see what are the challenges with the career transitions? What is your take on this?
I think the way I would look at it is I've been watching a lot of Netflix on the weekends. So let me give you a Netflix example, right? Think of this as the first episode, of a new Netflix series, right? What happens? You're curious, you're unsure, maybe even nostalgic, about the last season. Like I started off Good Doctor, almost about 2.5 years back. I know it's an old one, but then, started seeing it again. There were new seasons. So there is all of that feeling. And then if you look at it, the biggest challenges, are the fear of the unknown, the identity shift, and self-doubt. And I would say this happens to anybody, regardless of which level of hierarchy they are in the organization. And let's take Arjun for example, right? In Mahabharat, when he was on the battlefield, he did hesitate. Not because he was essentially weak, but because the stakes are personal. At times when people move changes, I mean, there's a lot that's been said about work life balance, then it's called work life integration, but the fact of the matter is fun life. Whether you call it personal, professional, it does get personal after some point in time. So how do you handle that bit? And people worry, will I succeed? Will I belong? Will I be starting from zero all over again? Especially when you do shifts from a company that you've been working for 10, 20 years and then you move to another one, what's happening? With a lot of unknowns. And often, people wait too long, trying to over plan and think of the most perfect leap. So in that, I think those are the very typical, challenges that professionals face during career transition. That's my take on
Right,
it.
you have highlighted very important point that the feeling of unknown, anxiety, kind of. So definitely, and that is quite obvious. You are
Yeah.
changing maybe from one role to another role, from one company to another company, or maybe sometimes you are also changing your country. So that is quite natural. Problem is how we can cope up with this, how we can deal with this situation. That is very important. How do you see? What would be your advice for this?
I think before I get to that, I'll give you an example about when do I think it would be a right time to make a career change, right? And that too, me making my first move after 22 years in one organization. I think I'm qualified to answer your question. I think of it like a Shah Rukh Khan romantic drama, right? When you know, you know. But to be honest, your body knows it before your brain does. So whether it is burnout, whether it is boredom, how fit, unfit are you? How are you feeling like you want to be here longer? Is everything aligning with your work? These are all subtle signals that come. These are indicators. In today's world, on engagement, we use AI and, you try to figure it out, who's a person who's going to leave and what's the time period that he or she will take. So there are a lot of those kind of AI related signals, but I think it's more personal, so you need to be more aware of of you being. And when the why becomes louder than the what, then it's time to make the change. And if you're no longer growing, or Mondays feel heavier and Fridays are like, yeah, I'm waiting for the weekend. that's your cue with regards to when you want to move and take your next job. So, did I answer your question, Romesh?
Yeah, so in short, I think you want to say that when you are not learning the new things, when you are in a comfortable zone, so that is the time when you should look for the another role, maybe look for another job, so that you can learn something new. So that is, I think you want to say this.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
now, if we, you have not answered my first question. How we can deal with that unknown kind of the factors? How we can deal with that kind anxiety kind of factors?
So when you look at movies, there are intervals in between movies, right? Or if you look at unpaid subscriptions of OTTs, you have adverts which come in. And maybe the hero's down, maybe the hero's betrayed. And when I say hero, I don't mean gender of male or female. I'm just
Right.
saying the main protagonist. And maybe he's broke, but then in the second half is, when there is a rise, when the rise begins, when you embrace in between, and then you journal things and things like that. I think so. A few to dos what people can do to make their anxiety a bit better. One is start journaling. Okay, speak to mentors. Create a structure for yourself wherein you have that white space, wherein you're toying with the idea of the pros and the cons, do your SWOT analysis. Look at where you are today, what went well, what's not going well, and there's a third point as well about, what are your priorities going forward. So these are the three things, that you essentially need to look at to overcome, your anxiety. And think of it like, watching The Crown. Like every character has a crisis of identity, but they evolve. Even you will evolve. So have the faith in yourself that, you can do it. And anxiety, it's natural to have anxiety. So please don't shoo away from it that it's not going to happen to me. But there is a way of dealing with it. And largely, spending your me time, creating your white space is what will get you to places. So that's what I would answer.
Absolutely, that preparation is very important. As you highlighted two very important point, that is the self assessment kind of, and how you can do the SWOT analysis. So as you prepare yourself, I think less you have the anxiety, less you will have this
Yeah.
unknown kind of the factors. You need more information. You prepare yourself for this.
I think
So
this life, the easiest thing to do is once you accept, things become easy. So
yeah, absolutely,
acceptance, journey to acceptance is what's important.
absolutely, acceptance is very important.
Yes.
Second, now we see, especially in COVID period of time, we have seen many IT companies, especially, they have started taking the people. Maybe they're not having the degrees, but if you're having the certifications, that time the Google has started the certifications, so many certifications, and almost every top-notch company they have hired these people, and they were working fantastically. They were working. How to see these certifications and maybe we see also a lot of LinkedIn certifications, free, so many certifications are there. How these certifications are useful when you're looking for career transitions, career move?
I think skills are your weapons. Skills are about your strategy of, your strategy matters, when you're stockpiling yourself. I'm not asking to compare against anybody, but just look at your journey, right? Till the time you don't learn a particular thing in a particular way, it doesn't help. Let me give you a bad example, right? And you, Romesh, I'm very fond of my nephew, so I'll give his example. He started off with playing cricket. Then he moved to playing football or soccer. And then when he was learning at home, there was only so much that he could learn because, he was learning from my national, sport player, hockey player, my dad, me, who's only played in school, and, a few other folks in and around our vicinity. But then when he started going to, the specialists, who will quote unquote certify him and teach him techniques, tell him about what is called what, the way the confidence comes in is very, very different. Okay, so certifications are important from that standpoint. It's not so much about, I would not really bother whether I display my certifications on LinkedIn or not, but what did I really get out of it? What strength have I developed of it? And am I able to use my skill at the right time? I can be skilled on हजार things, but if I'm not able to use it, then there's no point, you know. So it's going to be, I think while I do all of that, you know, the focus is going to be on agility, the focus is going to be on storytelling, the focus is going to be on digital fluency. Most important, emotional intelligence. Okay. Certifications will help only so much. Okay. But then what really matters is how you apply them in real scenarios. And that's what matters. So I think while companies have helped, you know, people train, well, you have the 70-20-10, you know, typical old methodology of learning, it's important to give 20 to 30% now on application as well. Because then you know whether you've learned it or not. And that's my 2 cents on it.
Skill is important. These certifications may help you, but how much they will help, that is, when you
It's very up
start
to
using,
application. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
that is totally on application, how you use it.
Correct.
Another, we see also a lot of people are coming into career coaching kind of profession. How do you see these career coaches can help when somebody is looking for the career transitions, maybe mentors, maybe career coaches, how these people can help, these professionals, I would say, can help somebody, and what kind of the help we can expect from them.
So you remember Lagan, the movie? In that, one British guy, you know, trained the villagers, right? That's what a coach can do. And mentors give you a perspective. Coaches will help sharpen your skills, networks, and open doors. While they will not do it themselves, they will make you do it yourself. You know, because coach helps you understand the power is within you. Alone, you know, you'll go fast, but when you go or tie up with the light tribe, you go far and you can avoid battles you don't need to fight. So in the corporate world, you know, there's also this very thing, choose your battles, pick your battles. What is important for you and what is not? What's the larger scheme of things? So coaches and mentors, to your point, are extremely important, and they are your lighthouse, so you can't ignore them. And I know that there was this video of one of the Grand Prix F1 races wherein you know, he was driving, Hamilton was driving, and the crew at the pit stop is telling him, you know, slow down, you're going to burn it down. And he says, I know what I'm doing, leave me alone. You know, that's one of my favorites. And that's where I feel that, you know, your team can be your coach, everybody can be a coach. But when you're sitting in the driver's skill, that's when you need to apply what's important to you, but you also need to take these inputs around. So I think it's important, but balancing it out is very important. You can't become dependent, but you should definitely take inputs.
No, absolutely. These coaches and mentors, they can help you. They can give you the clarity somehow. And we also talk about skills gap. That is a challenge, bigger challenge when we look for the career transition. And generally, it is suggested that continuous learning, that is very important for any of the profession. How do you
Yeah.
see what would be your advice here? How the people can continue their learning so that this challenge at least shouldn't be bigger challenge when you are looking for the career transitions.
I think, see, the skills gap are never the same because the skills that you're trying to hone also will change with context. So, for example, you know, I was on Insta the other day and there's a very powerful post that came which said, women of 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020, and how the needs and the wants and what would I like to call it? You know, the skill set and the mindsets have changed. So when you look at things like that, um, I think what's important is to be very current and in the know which way the industry is shifting. I also think it's important for people to know which industry they like, because today, Romesh, IT is not the choicest, right? There are umpteen opportunities with other industries available. There's manufacturing, there's aviation, there's semiconductors, there's, you know, pharmaceuticals, and so on and so forth. So people are not hung up just on one. So, you know, I think it's important, like just the way you have the 4 stages of life, the way we have careers and the way we shift, the skills need to get upgraded accordingly in terms of the glossary of skills that I'm working on. And then the gap on that can then automatically be worked. But if I tell you something which is constant and the gap which needs to shorten is the life skills. Life skills are largely, how my interpersonal skills, how's my EQ, how am I able to influence people. I don't necessarily have to be in a leadership position to lead projects. So that bit of confidence, that bit of, invoking ideas to get people on that becomes very important. So I think those are the skills that can get shrunk. And if you ask me my personal opinion, what's worked for me is my coaches have really, really helped me, my coaches and mentors. So I would go back to, leveraging that aspect the most. And आजकल ना there is this thing, ज्ञान बांटने से बढ़ता है ना, people actually believe in that. So I think now is the right time to have as many coaches as possible. That's the way I
So
look at it. But
Gyan, technically also you have to, read a lot of stuff. That's why that also increases some time.
इसके
So
experience comes, ना? Yeah.
yeah, definitely experience comes there. So I think we have been tried to cover these all the important points. Anything else which is important and we did not touch here? Then we will come to the tips part.
I think it's most important that the minute you make something a task, which is not a part of your life, it needs extra effort from your end. But just the way eating food is effortless for us at times, I mean, you get the energy and all that, but you're not putting in extra effort until you're sick. Similarly, upgrading skills and focusing on skills is important. And doing that, living a life like that is very important. So just think of skills like that. No other, intent.
Absolutely. So, as a HR leader, suppose in HR somebody is trying to look for somebody is looking for the career transition, or in IT industry because you belong to IT industry and in HR. So, how do you see for the IT people and for the HR people if they're looking for the career transition, career switch, what how they can plan this? What would be your advice for them?
I would tell them to start. See, for anything to start off, you need to have your statement of purpose, right? So update your narrative. What is your narrative? Who you are today? What do you bring to the table? And what is your goal and priority with regards to what you want to do in the future? Have these three things extremely clearly laid out. Then it helps you, if you're either doing a career shift, a transition, or if you're coming back to work. The second, what I would do is network. Network is a charm. If it works for you, and you are authentic as part of your network, it's a tribe you build around you, Romesh, which only takes you up. Or it at times it also becomes your safety net. When you fall down, it doesn't really let you, hit the pit in that sense. And start with very small wins. Okay. Don't be harsh on yourself regardless of where you're coming. If you're trying to say, for example, if in HR people are wanting to come back and join HR, there was a career break for whatever reasons, start with small consulting gigs. Fractional jobs are the in thing now. The gig economy is going to grow immensely. There are several startups that are now, LinkedIn equivalent just on gigs for blue and white collared labor, I mean, workers. So think of it in that sense, and at times it's not always about the money. So start volunteering work. At times when you volunteer and there are no stakes on the money, it makes life a lot easy. Then you are able to rebuild your momentum. And that's what you do. I'll give you a bad example. Look at Cult Fit. Okay. They have certain programs, which are 5 minute and 10 minute on their app where they don't take money at all. And they help you, get to that. Then the second is the last and most important is don't chase percent. I would say perfection. Just chase progress. And that's what's the most important.
Very rightly, you said that first the self-assessment that is very important. Do the self-assessment, some SWOT analysis that can help you. And the purpose is very important. Why you're looking for the career change, why you're looking for the career transition. That transition may be from one role to another role, maybe completely from your traditional role to any different role, maybe from HR to product manager. So that will be entirely different. But why you are making this change? Sometime you are also changing from one industry to another industry. So the purpose that should be very clear. So thank you so much, Rajita, for joining us and sharing your wonderful thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed it.